Hey bookworms, welcome back to my channel and to another review, and in this video I will talk about The Plant Hunter by T.L. Mogford. Now that's a British name if I've ever heard one. I hauled this book not too long ago, so if you want to know which books I'll review next, I suggest watching the haul. It will be linked in the description box. So, The Plant Hunter takes place in the 19th century and its title comes from a real occupation. Plant hunters were people who traveled the world, usually to exotic and dangerous places, in order to collect plants and bring them back to England, where our beloved eccentric Victorians would keep and present them in their houses. This novel's protagonist is Harry Compton, who works in a plant nursery and is very talented in his area of cultivating and selling plants, until one day a chance encounter sends him on the path to be a plant hunter himself, having found out that a mythical plant actually does exist in China. But soon Harry has to flee England and decides to make this journey to China, where with the help of a distant relative, they decide to search together for this elusive icicle tree that can make both of them very rich and very successful. While reading this book, one word kept popping up in my head, and it was the word fun. If I had to describe the book in one word, that would be it. Fun. This book is a Victorian adventure book set in an interesting, exotic place, unless you're Chinese, in which case I suppose the England parts are the exotic ones, and involves sailing, sneaking, pirates, and many, many different types of flora. Generally speaking, I really liked it, however, its simplicity. It's not a bad thing necessarily, sometimes you want something rather simple, but personally I would have been happy with a bit more oomph. But if you are in a market for a Victorian, very inoffensive Indiana Jones, that's the book for you. But now, a little more in detail. I do have to accommodate this novel for its dedication, both for the subject of plants and for the strangeness of Victorian society. The first is rather obvious. Every now and then you read a book and you know that the author took its subject seriously, and this time the subject was plants. I don't know if Mr. Mogford himself has a personal interest in plants, flowers, the process of cultivation and germination and transporting them and all of that. If he doesn't, then it deserves double the praise because Harry's passion for those was clearly shown. And it's not boring either. The second thing I mention is something that I'm always happy to see because two little contemporary pieces really show Victorian society in all its weird glory. They always look so proper, but just watch shows like Gentleman Jack in order to see just how crazy their hairstyles were. Seriously, I dare you not to laugh. And in this book, we're shown their strange obsession with the exotic, mostly focusing on strange and unusual plants. But also, and this was a small detail, but he did the names justice. Did you know Victorian names were really, really weird? So yes, the main character is Harry, and we have a Jack and a Clarissa there. But then we also have characters called Demicus, Josiah, Narcissus, and Caris. It's a really small thing, but I liked it. So basically, this was a very entertaining book, and before I go to the negatives, I want to mention that there is something good with it being so simple. As mentioned, some people like simple and would like to read something where they know that no one important will die, and the good guys will win, and the couple in the center will end up together. One of the best aspects of this is the fact that due to the book being so clean, it can suit young readers, more conservative readers, etc. There is no intense violence. We do have characters who die, and it's really sad, but nothing gory. There aren't any swearing, no sex. There is one romantic scene, but it's also very vanilla. I know that as a kid, I would have loved to read a book like that. It is 400 pages long, so if the length isn't an issue, it's totally young adult safe. However, now let's move on to some of the negative things in this book and continue with the same theme. As I was reading, I really felt the lack of danger in this book. Personally, I felt this book could have been more. It's funny because we are told that this is a dangerous expedition, but I really didn't feel that anything was in stake. Something about the overall tone of the book made me positive that none of the main characters would die or even get severely hurt or separated. I just never felt any sense of worry about them. This also in turns lead to a lack of payoff. Yes, they are doing things that lead to other things, but this oversimplicity also means that there is a lack of setting and therefore not a very impactful payoff. I will risk a small spoiler and will say that there is one death in the book that really got me mad because it was a very token death in order to manipulate an emotional response. Rather annoying, but other than that, let's just say that the outcome of the book was rather obvious. So to conclude, this was a fun, light Victorian adventure book. As much as I thought it lacked some depth and substance, it still managed to be a very entertaining read. The characters were definitely very compelling and the world building was pretty well done. So if you're looking for a vacation read, you're rebounding after something more heavy, or you don't like things that are too hefty or intense, then it's a great book. If that's not you and you still want to read it, just be aware that it's not too profound or deep, but again, it's not a bad thing. I don't want you to get the idea that this book was silly or shallow, because it's not. Remember, it was a lot of fun. So that's it for my review of The Plant Hunter. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel so you won't miss any of my bookish videos. Also, write me a comment if you read this novel, or write down what is the strangest thing about Victorian culture you believe is not being discussed enough. Guys, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.